this is Joe from ArtAlienTV and ArtAlien.tv, my new website. Check it out, there's a link in the description below. So today, for we space detectives, I've got this set of images here. Now, I'm sure a lot of you would have seen these online already. These have been doing the rounds for a couple of days. I was actually making this video yesterday, and unfortunately, I got to about 20 minutes and then my computer crashed. So, and this was sort of in the evening, early evening, and I didn't really have time to do another one. So I'm doing it again today, and hopefully it would be fine. But some weird stuff happened, and I'll let you know about that at the end of this video. Some strange things have been going on. And I wonder whether there's some weird stuff going on various websites online where some of the code is being changed back to what it was years ago, okay? I'll come back to that towards the end of the video. First of all, let's have a look at this. Now, this was really cool. Now, these are images taken by the Ingenuity helicopter, or copter drone, as they call it. And if you look down here, there's the shadow of the drone there. You can see the sort of feet, the legs sticking out, and the sort of shadow there. And this is the backshell and the parachute of the Perseverance rover in Jezero Crater. Now, what I've done here, I've given you a context map of this as well, okay, which is not what most people do, but as always, I'm thorough about these things. Now, this is really cool. This looks like a sort of crashed UFO or something. That's really cool. I mean, it's like the Roswell incident or something. It's really cool, actually. I mean, it's a cool design anyway, and I'll show you some clips of it, what it looks like before it was crashed as well, in a sec as well. Put some clips in, coming up now. Okay, so, I mean, this was a lightweight design, obviously, because it's going to Mars. And when it hit the ground, it just smashed. And there's loads of debris all around it. There's a brighter one here. Now, these are all raw. I haven't enhanced these in any way, apart from this clip here, right? But this is the one with the a nice shot of the actual chains and ropes and stuff. You can see the chains down here, right, where they link to the back shell. And you've got all these ropes and stuff, and the actual parachute there, okay? And in this one, we've got a wider context view. So you can see how far away the chute is from the back shell here, okay? And this one's quite nice. It's a bit brighter on this part here. And I took a clip of this one and enlarged it and enhanced it. So this is an enhanced clip, this one here. It's been brightened up and color corrected just a tiny bit. I mean, not a lot, okay? So it's really cool. There's some nice details in here. You can actually see how the thing was constructed, and you can see the actual parts where it's literally smashed. And there's one of the chains there. You can see a chain links there, linking it to the back shell. So obviously this was where the parachute was housed in here. And when it got to a certain height, coming in to Jezero Crater, the chute was deployed. Now, they used an explosive charge to do that, to literally blow it out of here, and then it would shoot up, and then suddenly the whole thing would slow down. And before it got to the ground, I'll show you the actual context of the landing here, which I've done before, but this is the actual shot of it from space, okay? Now, this was taken, like, literally the day it happened, okay? This is taken by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which is the really cool satellite, my favorite satellite, with the high-res camera, which is really good. And you've got the back shell here and the parachute there. But you can actually see the parachute that's more oval here, right? And in this image, it doesn't, because I think what's happened since it landed, the chute has been blown around a bit by the wind, and it's kind of folded over and kind of scrunched up there. You can see the detail in there. Pretty cool. And in these context maps here, you've basically got that chute there, which is highly reflective, or at least it was highly reflective. Now it's all covered in dirt and dust, and it's gone a sort of weird orangey, browny colour, and it's nowhere near as bright as it was when it landed here, okay? So it's been there over a year, so that's completely obvious that that was going to happen. If you actually look at the rover, it's been there for the same amount of time, and it's really quite dirty now, even though it's only been there sort of about a year and a bit. Yeah, it's been up there about 14 months, I think, 15 months. So there's quite a lot of dust on Mars, obviously. There aren't as many big dust storms as we were led to believe. They only happen about every 4 or 5 years, the large dust storms. And those are, in fact, caused by solar flares. The same on Earth, when we get our big storms and firestorms and that kind of thing, and really hot, stormy weather, that's caused by solar flares, okay? So they happen on Mars as well as on Earth. And I often use Mars as a kind of weather vane, really. If there's some bad weather kicking off on Mars, I know we're going to get some, because of course we share the same sun, okay? And here's that again. Now, this actually is a context of the actual landing. There's the lander there. You can see the actual rover there. It's pretty small, it's there, with the blast radius either side. And then you can see up here where the actual backshell and parachute are on this ridge to the north, to the northwest, and then north of that we've got the actual heat shield, which is like a tiny black dot on the ground, and you can barely see it in this image. I think that's it there, but it's really hard to see. There is a link here. If you want to follow this link, it will take you to the gigapan of these, and you can actually zoom right in and see the rover quite well on the ground. In my previous video, I did a video called Mars City Sewer System, Jezero Crater, okay? That's what it was called, Mars City Sewer System. I've been doing a bit more work on that, and what I did, I got that same image that I showed you in the previous video, which is this one, right? But I really, really cranked up the contrast by 100%, right? So this is much more contrasted than that previous one I showed you with all the structures and channels and like a sewer system or canal system, whatever it is, okay? And there's that, there's the rover. You can actually see it much better in this. You can zoom right into it there. And if you use the hover zoom magnifier, you can see it pretty well. So this was taken on the day or the day after the landing. And there's the parachute and backshell there, which you can see in much better detail here. Use the hover zoom magnifier. There's the backshell with the debris around it. You can see all these bits on the ground. And there's the chute, which is very bright and reflective, as it was then, okay? And that the backshell, I mean the heat shield is up here somewhere. It's like a little black thing on the ground. I haven't marked it on here, but what I wanted to show you here was some of the things that I've shown you before, but what I've done is a bit more work, because we have a higher contrasted image here. You can see more detail in the ground. In other words, you can see things under the sand better. Because obviously, as I've said 100 times before, sand is not a solid. It's more like a liquid. You can see through it from a certain height with enough radiation. The radiation will bounce off harder objects under the ground, like stone walls and stuff like that, and the structures. And you can see things under the ground, okay, or just below the sand. But obviously, a lot of these things are sticking up, so you don't need to. Now, this is the Kodiak structure. Now, I did mention this in the previous video and other videos I've shown it. And basically, this is the shape, the actual shape of it. Now, previously I've drawn around it and it's come to here like this, right? But this is the shape of the actual total structure, not just the top part. If I get rid of that, you can see the actual symmetry in here. We've got 3 angles here, but I actually think this is broken down. I think this structure came to there and to here. You can actually see here, I'll go in a bit closer, you can see the outline of the structure there and the outline of the structure at the top. You can see that line going across there. That, I think, is the bottom edge of the structure on this little island, okay? So it's not quite the shape I thought it was. And this is why it's good to use very high contrasted images like this, because it gives you more of an idea of what these things are actually shaped like, without all the sand and stuff covering it up. You can see through some of the sand, literally, right? You can actually see the shapes below here. So that's the overall shape. The top part comes like this. You can see the top part there. It's all going to collapse down here. And when you look at it from on the ground, there's loads and loads of debris around here, especially around this corner. So this is all collapsed down. So that's the shape it was before, and now it's all kind of broken down here, right? So that's what it was like. So that was interesting. And what I really wanted to show you was all this stuff up here, because what I've done, like in my previous video about the sewer system and all these channels or canals, because if they're water channels, right, which I think they are, all these up here, they're all over this crater, but this is the best bit so far. These channels are all over, and as I said before, they all link to these buildings, right? Now, with this particular Gigapan, what I've done, I've gone into a bit more detail with some of these buildings and taken my time to point them out, and I haven't linked them all up. These all link up, by the way. Now, this is the main structure, which I called the cathedral in the last video, right? And this is the bit I showed here, but actually the structure is much bigger, because in this high contrasted image, you can see more of the outer walls, right? Because we got more contrast, and we're looking through the sand that's burying a lot of this stuff, okay? We're looking through it, right? You can actually see the outline there. Let's go in a bit closer, not get too close. There we are. Now look at this wall here, and here, and here, 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 here. We've got a zigzag one there with perfect right angles in it, just there. And then we have the channel that comes from there to here, and then joins all the other channels, which join up to all the other structures, right? So let's do that again. We've got highly complex geometry going on here, and a lovely sort of rectangular one there, right? Just there. You can see that rectangle really clearly, and you can see this one really clearly, and it's quite pronounced. This is the main part of the building, right? But then we have these outer walls here. This looks a bit like a compound, and I call it a cathedral, or I said it's about the size of a cathedral, a small cathedral or a large church, right? But what this may be is a garden, or these could be grounds. So this is more like a complex, right? And we got this weird sort of rectangular thing going right across the middle of it here, right? See that there? Let's use the magnifier. You can see it going across here. See that line? It's like a rectangle there. So what that represents, I don't know. You can actually see these. This is where the actual water channel or canal starts here, and then it joins to all these up here, and then it goes all the way up, as I showed in the last video. These all join up, and all these structures are joined up by these channels, right? Well, this one goes right up to here, and then takes a right turn, goes to the limit, the city limit area here, like a boundary area, and it drops down, and it comes up to here, right? And this is that other big structure I showed you. Now, I've done a bit more work on this and tried to figure out what's going on, and this is what it is shaped like, right? That channel, this blue line here, joins to it here, and then we have a very complex set of structures with this weird, like, number 7 kind of corridor kind of structure joining this one, which is interesting, and then this kind of long rectangular one with a weird sort of part sticking out there, okay? This is huge. I mean, these are hundreds of meters in length. You can see the measure here. This is very accurate, this measure, on these images, right? Because they give us a scale for these, so we know how big these things are within a few inches, all right? So this is big stuff. This is like 100 meters wide, almost here. That's about 80 meters there, wide. And this is hundreds of meters long. And you can actually measure these things. If you move things down to the corner, That is over 100 meters wide at the bottom there. So this is big stuff. That's 300 feet, just that part. These are huge. So these are massive structures, and I don't think these are just like houses, right? I think these are industrial buildings or something like that. These may be pump stations or sewage or water treatment plants or something like that. I don't know. This could even be a kind of irrigation system designed to filter minerals, okay, like a salt plant or possibly even a gold mining operation or some kind of mineral mining, because these are complex structures, and we've got like outbuildings, right, and inner structures, inner buildings. Well, we've got inner walls and outer walls, right? But this seems to have been designed to be part of this actual channel. This is the channel, the blue one, just there. You can see the parallel sort of lines, right? And they're quite wide. This is about 4 meters wide. So this is as wide as a road would be, right? But with a wall either side, right? And you can see here, there's a wall either side. And the same here, a wall either side. And you can really study these in much better detail on here, because I cranked the contrast. You can actually see the shapes of these structures quite well, okay? And you can see that a lot of these wannabe craters in the ground are actually structures, right? They're eroded, obviously, and this one goes right to the middle of that one, look, this channel here. And that one crosses over and goes to this one, right? But they're not just craters. These are the remains of structures where they've been blown apart, right? And literally what we're seeing are the remains of the lower parts of the building. In other words, the sort of foundations and the lower walls that are still partly intact in these areas, right? That's what we're looking at. These aren't the actual whole buildings. These are where the buildings were, and there we've got ruins, okay? Ruined structures, and they're all over this. And this one was interesting, quite complex, this one. Now, I thought this was just a set of craters or something, but it's not. There's too much symmetry in here. You can see the triangle there. You can see that shape there. It's really, really interesting geometry going on here. And they've obviously kind of built them to suit the landscape and utilise the actual shape of the ground, which is why they're kind of weird sort of geometric shapes like this. They're not all kind of rectangular like this one here, but some of them are slightly more complex like this one. And a lot of them are this kind of shape as well, right? It's just almost like a diamond shape, right? A lot of them are that kind of shape. And there's a really nice one like that here, which is large. So these are too big to be houses, right? I mean, who would have a house that was hundreds of meters in length and 100 meters wide, like this one? Who would do that? So these are principal buildings, and there's a bunch more over here, which are quite complex. This one's interesting. You've got these straight edges, right? So initially they look like craters. This is a bit like some of the structures you see on the moon, right? As well as other parts of Mars, where you actually look at it from space and you think, there's a crater, there's another crater, there's another crater. Gets quite tedious, but when you actually look at them, a lot of them have very straight edges to them, and I've shown them on Ceres as well, or Ceres as it's supposed to be called, right? And they're square craters, and on Pluto, on the moon, right? Loads of them on Mars. A lot of them are hexagonal, octagonal, pentagonal, and septagonal, right? And some of them are weird sort of polygon shapes, but they've got very straight edges like this, right? Weird, right? And there's this one here. Now the ground here is very flat, much more flat here. There's less sand on the ground. This is the harder surface of the crater, the salt lake bed. So this is like a concrete crust on the ground, where it's all kind of solidified, right? But what we have here, you can see the outline of that. It's there, you can see the outline. It's not that obvious, but when you look at it properly, take your time, You can see these things. And there's a whole bunch of structures there next to it, right? Little rooms, square rooms, and a sort of hexagonal one there. There's another kind of rectangular one there. I haven't marked all these. Obviously, there's so many of these things. I mean, it would take me, like I said in the last video, it would take me all day just to show you them, right? And here, there's that big kind of mound. This has got a square structure here within the rooms, like I showed before, right? And then I found this thing up here. There's a triangle thing in the side of this mountainous ridge here. You can see it. It's there. That's the wrong one, sorry. It's just there. It's going a bit closer. Okay. So there's some strange geometric things on the ground, which I think are structures, and some of them are so complex, and the way these all join up, like I said before in the previous video, is astonishing, right? So if you haven't seen the previous video, it would help you if you did watch that, because this will make a lot more sense to you if you have. I recommend it, okay? And I also showed the eclipse of the Phobos eclipse of the sun, which was quite nice as well. That's actual movie footage from the Perseverance rover. So check that out as well. It's only about a minute long. It's really cool. But these structures are so complex, right? And what I'm trying to figure out is what these channels actually are, because they are the width of a road. 3 or 4 meters. Well, I would say nearer 4, because if you measure that one, and this is sort of average size, they're all about the same. I'd say that's about 4 meters, which is a fair size, right? That's as wide as a road. Almost, not quite. And different countries have slightly different measurements, but in the UK, our roads are fairly narrow. Our streets, our little back streets are pretty narrow. And obviously the main streets are wider. So it's not quite as wide as one of our roads here in the UK. But it's wide enough to be a road. But if these were roads, why would it go right into this structure like this? This building, why would it go right in like this? And if I take this off here again, you can actually see these right-angled parts here, right? So these are rooms here. You can see the rooms. There's a room there, room there, room there. So there's multiple structures joined onto this. I've only outlined some of it. And this is where the channel actually starts, right? At least I think it does. It's right here. And then we've got these walls joining in a zigzag. These were rectangular chambers or rooms here, right? But this is the outer wall of the structure, and that's where that channel starts. And then there's another one going off here and here, but this is the main one. If this was a road, why would it join the actual structure? I don't see why that would happen. It would kind of go up to it, but it wouldn't join onto it like this. Very strange. So this is why I think these may be actual canals, or quite narrow canals or channels, if you want to call them that, which had water in them. Because if these were roads, why would they go in this way? It just doesn't make sense. They wouldn't be as straight, that's for sure. These are quite straight. A lot of them are really straight. And they're kind of like Roman roads. It's really weird. It's really weird. They could be roads or paths, but why are they built up like that? As if to hold water with a wall either side like a canal. So it's still a bit of a mystery. Haven't quite solved it yet. So perhaps some of you could give me an idea of what you think. There's also some other structures over here which are really cool. And they're not immediately obvious, right? But I think they're up here. Look at these here, right? We've got a double one there. We've got a long round rectangle there and a weird shape, sort of polygon shaped thing there, right? Check these out. This one down here. I haven't drawn all of them on here, right? But you can see there's a long rectangular one there. There's some complex stuff going on here. This joins to that and then comes down like this. I haven't done all this yet, but this one was interesting. Further down, This is absolutely insane. When you actually look at it properly and take your time with it, use the magnifier, you can actually see all these shapes in there, right? I'm not just adding random stuff here, okay? It's all there. You can see the rectangular shapes, then the joining parts at the bottom here, and then it comes right down. I started drawing it and I thought, hang on, this goes on and on and on, and there's another room there, and there's other rooms around it, right? Over here as well, down here. I mean, once you start doing this, you could go on forever. Look at the shapes in the ground. Look at this long shape. You've got the long line here and a line there. See these lines? See the triangle there? Absolutely insane, right? And this is another very large structure. This is like 200 meters long and over 100 meters wide here. Huge. And I actually think, and it's joined to this channel, this pipe here, which also joins to this wannabe crater, and this one here. And I don't think a lot of these are craters. I'm sure some of them are. I'm sure a lot of them are. But a lot of them have been either modified or turned into structures. Maybe after they were craters, and they built walls around them and stuff and used them as compounds. It would make sense, especially when you've got high radiation on the planet. So there we are. I could go on and on about these. I'd recommend you come and check these out because some of this stuff is absolutely mental. And in my previous video, I actually linked up a lot of these channels or roads or whatever you want to call them. But are they roads or channels? Why would a road join into a structure like that? Unless this was some kind of processing plant here. Or that was just like a water channel, irrigation channel. It's very strange. It's almost as if they were extracting something from up here and then pumping it along these channels to here to be processed or something. And then maybe this went to another processing plant here where it's kind of processed even further. So this could be some kind of chemical processing going on here, or mineral processing. I don't know, but it's very weird how all these join up, and these are very large structures, not houses, right? They're way too big to be houses. These could be factories of some sort. It could be almost anything. Absolutely crazy. So that was that. And one thing I was going to show you, this was really weird. Now, when I was recording this video yesterday and my computer crashed, I turned my computer back on. And obviously the video I did yesterday was trashed. I had to bin it because it didn't finish encoding, right? This is why I'm doing it again today. But I went on my Facebook group, right? I thought, okay, I'll just post a couple of things on here like I do every day. I post a few images and stories about Mars and other planets and that kind of thing. Now, bear in mind, this is just after my computer crashed. I switched this back on, pressed my shortcut to my Mars Magazine page, come and check it out. And I started scrolling down, I thought, yeah, that was all normal, right? Then I looked at this, right, okay. That's a recent post from something I posted yesterday. And then everything else, this is called newest activity, right? The date, 26th of November 2015. And everything below this, including these things I posted and other people that have posted stuff, is dated 7 years ago. Everything. Now I know Facebook do this weird thing where, they give you anniversary photos, right? But usually they're exactly a year or so, or exactly 5 years. They show you a photograph of when you were at a party or at your birthday or something. They'll often do that just to remind you how old you are. Yeah. Now that's normal, right? But this is 7 years. And everything below this, in fact, I was so shocked, I actually thought I'd gone into some sort of weird time warp or like the Matrix had ripped, the space-time continuum or something. I thought there was something weird going on. And everything here is stuff from 7 years ago, including stuff that other people posted. There's Billy Carson there, with a weird anomaly there on the ground. Bloody hell. And as I kept scrolling, I thought, but this is all 2015, November the 26th. So it's not an anniversary or anything. It's almost like I was hacked, or Facebook, my Facebook group's hacked or something. I don't know. I was so mind-boggled by this. This was really weird. And these are some of my older videos. And everything here was posted 7 years ago. Everything. So this also shows they record everything you do on Facebook. Every little move you make. Right? Which is weird, but that's what they do. So I've got all the original comments, we've got all these original articles that I posted, right? This is, my whole timeline went back in time 7 years, but not exactly 7 years. Why would it do that? My whole activity timeline on Facebook suddenly go back all that time. And I was so shocked by it, I actually took a screenshot of all this in case this disappeared, and it's still up, right? And then today, when I got up this morning, I went on a different browser and opened up Facebook, and it was all normal. It went back to normal, right? So I don't know how long this happened for, so let me know if you know what's happened here, or anything similar has happened to you, right? Very strange. And it got me kind of thinking, right? 2015 is when I think the mission went to that Comet 67p, right? Because if you look at my videos from that year, from then, that's when it got there, and it recorded a signal from the Comet, right? It was the Rosetta mission, right, from the European Space Agency, and I did a couple of videos on it. Actually, a whole bunch of videos on that mission. The Rosetta mission from the European Space Agency. It took years and years to get there. And when they got there, well, way before they got there, they played us this signal. No, it was sped up so we could hear it, but there was a weird signal coming from this comet, right? And they claimed it was because of the gases escaping from the comet, which is kind of like a honeycomb structure inside, and there's gases expanding inside as the sun hits it, and things are boiling up. Which it kind of sounded a bit like, but there were parts of it, which I speculated on at the time, that sounded like a signal, like an intelligent kind of scale of notes, right? Being a musician, I managed to pick out this scale, this musical scale, which was like really interesting, which didn't sound random, but may have been. But what if, now this was years and years ago, and what if that was a signal, and there were even UFOs kind of flying around it as well. There's one of the structures there, like a remains of a building, and there's the tower. Look at this one over on the right, and here. These are ruins, right? Now, why would there be ruins on the Comet? And why would there be a signal coming from it, which we picked up from Earth? But did we pick it up from Earth? Did we actually pick it up, the signal from Voyager, which was like a long way out there? Because they started building the mission, the rocket and the probe like 12, 14 years ago, and it took about 10 years to get there, right? You know what I mean? So they heard this signal coming from this comet a long, long time ago, and it was probably one of our Mars missions, or maybe one of the Voyager missions, or Mariner, or something that may have picked it up like a long, long time ago, and they decided to go and have a look and find out what was causing the signal, and this is what it was coming from, right? Now, what if that signal was a digital kind of virus? That once you'd recorded it, now what they did with it, they got the signal and then they slowed it down. No, sorry, they sped it up so we could hear it because it was extra low frequency. Now, these extra low frequency waves are particularly good at traveling very great distances, right? And but you can't hear them with the normal hearing range of a human being. You've got to speed them up so you can hear them, right? So then the pitch goes up, and then it comes into our range. And that's what we did, and that's what the ESA did. And I actually put that video on, that sound on some of my videos, and I got into trouble for it because someone bloody copyrighted it. Now, how does someone copyright an alien signal, right? Now, it doesn't matter whether you believe this signal is deliberate or it's actually just from the structure outgassing, like I said. It doesn't matter. You can't copyright that, but I got into trouble with these videos because of it, right? And it really pissed me off. And I got fed up with it in the end. I kept getting copyright strikes whenever I played that signal on here. Now, I thought that was really weird. And then I was hacked as well, really badly. And then that was also when a lot of this stuff started going wrong down here on Earth, i.e. YouTube and Facebook, all the censorship and all the weird stuff started happening online, and loads of weird things started happening around the world. And some people were trying to blame CERN or whatever, or other things. And a lot of it is down to politicians, obviously. I'm not going to go into that. But what if that signal we picked up was some kind of computer virus that has kind of hacked all our main computers on Earth and taken over our AI? What if that is what it was, like a Borg signal? What if it was? Because I'll tell you what, there's some weird stuff going on now, and I think it all started about then, right at the end of 2015, and then everything went sort of tits up, right? That's when things started going online and on sort of on all these platforms. All of them started going very strange, and all this weird censorship started, and politicians started freaking out, as if there had been some kind of AI takeover of the power structures on Earth, and a lot of the media, of course, would probably be controlled by those same power structures, right? What if that's the case? Let's go back a bit with that. This actually looks better from a bit further back. And there's this weird disc thing here as well. And there were things hovering above the ground. This is hovering, this disc. There's a shadow, right? And there was weird UFOs hovering above the area as well, above that tower. So there's weird stuff going on with this comet, and I always thought it was very strange that they would go so far out just to sort of, and it was an amazing mission. It actually landed on it, crashed on it, and took some great pictures, right? There's that disc. And there's some weird stuff up in the sky here, and a lot of this is just debris. There's this boomerang-shaped UFO up here. But like I was saying, what if these UFOs were attracted to the same signal that we were, and got there at the sort of same time as we did? What's the chances of that, do you think? Seeing all these weird boomerang-shaped objects above the comet. What are the chances? It's absolutely incredible, really, when you think about it. This looks like some kind of industrial complex to me, and this looks like some kind of mining operation or mineral processing, and these could be chemical plants or power plants or something going on here, pumping water around and extracting minerals from it, or God knows what. But these are highly complex, large structures, and in fact, when you really get into it, they all kind of join up like a huge matrix, right? So we've got a city here, and we have the rover landing here, just here. There's the rover when it landed, and as I showed before, there's the parachute, and there is the Backshell. Okay, so thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you think about whether we've been hacked, whether Earth has been hacked by an alien Borg signal that we picked up on a satellite, or perhaps it may have happened somewhere else. Perhaps NASA or ESA recovered some alien tech and got into a hard drive on one of these things or something, and then brought it back to Earth and infected all our systems with an alien computer bug. What if that actually happened? And a lot of the events around the world now are as a result of people being told what to do by an AI system that was hacked or infected by recovered tech, alien tech, either from one of these comets or outer bodies, or from Mars or the moon or somewhere like that. What if that's the case? So, food for thought there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please smash that like button and leave a comment. It really helps. And if you don't have time to comment, do a little thumbs up emoji or something like that. That will help also. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.